Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your mid-September reading. I moved it a little bit around because I'm just prepping for Halloween and I want those videos to come out at a certain time. So we're not late, don't worry. Your reading doesn't actually begin until the 14th, which is tomorrow. So let's talk about the 14th. Mars moves into Libra, and it's important for you to take a step back. You've been trying for about 2 weeks now to take a step back, but it hasn't necessarily been going that way. Where you thought things would be relaxed, they have been stressful. Where you thought you were understood, there have been many miscommunications. What exactly is going on? Well, as Mars moves into Libra and people become even more negative, it's time for you to take a little break and recharge yourself. Because this negativity, it's such a drag on you. You hate it. It's so in opposition to who you are. It's so draining to you to be around. And as much as really pitiful people can seem very attractive, it's not a good time to get involved in anything romantic, especially if someone from the past is telling you that they've changed, or because you're hurt by someone from the past and now want to bolster your ego. Wherever you make the decision to give in to your ego, over the next 4 weeks or so, you end up playing yourself. The ego wants to be fed right now. It wants you to learn your lessons through humiliation and not the past. If you focus on what has happened in the past, what you'll notice is that when you want to, you ignore those red flags. But you shouldn't be. And September is going to show you, as you start to make the same mistakes again, where those red flags are, but it's not going to let you ignore them. You will have to address them. So there are people around you who will expect you to stumble, and when you don't, when you change and are unlike yourself, some will be happy and some will be very disappointed because they like for you to play the fool. So they always have somebody they can refer to as being crazier than them, quirkier than them, more of an adventure seeker, more of a fire starter. Now, that may make you feel like, okay, we're going to fight. I'm going to get into fights is what you're telling me. No, there's going to be a lot of opportunities actually, work-wise and money-wise. So even though, yes, there will be ample opportunity to argue, you shouldn't do so. From the 27th to the 18th, Mercury is retrograde and everyone wants to fight. But everyone who's smart enough knows that it's also the perfect time to network and set up some new plans and ideas, some new revenue streams. And that's where you want to go. That's what you want to attract. Just wait. It'll come to you. Don't spend too much. After the 21st, there will be some surprise expenses, but those expenses too are also just opportunities. Maybe you meet someone through the expense, or you find out about something that would have been way worse if you didn't catch it now, but it's something that seems like an expense, seems like upheaval, but it's the best thing for you. This is another reason it's a good idea to start as of tomorrow to take some distance from people, because you do want to experience your tower moments in private. That's just who you are. And that's okay. Now, these tower moments don't have to be as scary as we make them out to be. Not at all. Just means that things are going to change. You do need to make new plans about money. You do need to take some time away from people who demand too much. You do need to cull the herd when it comes to who's in your life and who's supportive enough and deserves to be in your life. You need time to strategize and think. This is not somebody who is reactive. In fact, the whole takeaway from this reading is not to be reactive. You are going through a very interesting rebirth. It has to do with making your choices based on what you want and not as a reaction to what has happened to you or what your pride wants you to do. You are taking control of your choices, and it will make you better suited to admitting responsibility. It will make you a better partner, a better friend, a better sibling. But this growth can be painful. It can be scary. There will be ample opportunities to do the wrong thing, to give in, to become chaotic like everybody around you. But as long as you know that won't get you anywhere, I don't see you doing it. It may surprise you that part of this tower moment has to do with somebody in your surroundings that you just can't trust. You thought you could trust them, but you can't trust them. And that also has to be okay. It has to be okay that you find out now that somebody who long-term could have really hurt you is not on your side. It's sad, but it's the best thing to know now. Good. Yeah, and they're probably the ones who are trying to sabotage you at work. So if you already have some indication of who it could be, start to do what you need to do now. Distance yourself, damage control, whatever it is, just do it already. Love you. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your mid-September to mid-October reading. Apologies for the lateness of this video. As I've mentioned in the other videos, I would just like to mention it here as well so you have some idea of what's going on. You're not in the dark. I've been going through a bit of a family issue and it has been consuming me. But alhamdulillah, we're coming to the end of it, and hopefully on September 21st, things get better. So I have not been necessarily in the headspace to do readings until a couple of days ago. So apologies, and let's get into it. So on the 14th of September, Mars moved into Libra. And that was really your cue to take a step back. And the reason it's a good idea to take a step back is because it's not the best time to force anything. And sometimes the best way not to force anything, or even to be perceived as forcing something, is to take a step back. And that means from friends, it means from relationships, it means from everyone, from from everyone. It's advised that you focus more on your friendships than on romance, only because of the energies that are working right now. You are looking for harmony. And oftentimes, especially right now, you may feel like your love life isn't the most harmonious, even if you are with someone. Or even if everything is great, it's still okay to give yourself a little space, especially when you know, okay, that this energy, right, this Mars in Libra can be begrudging, it can be mean, words with Mars energy behind them. Oof, it can be a lot.
So it's very easy, especially during the retrograde, to get into intense arguments, and it will seem for a little while like you're arguing every day once the retrograde starts on the 27th. So you understand why it's a good idea to pull back now before anything, before the retrograde starts, right? So you've already created that distance, and so when those situations that are naturally going to arise during Mercury retrograde that cause these arguments, that distance will save you. It will be a buffer, okay? I was watching, I'm obsessed with this show Newsroom that I've been watching on HBO. I actually just finished it and was like, no, why are there only 3 seasons? No. But one of the things that I learned from that show, just from watching it, is that there's something called an air gap computer. I had no idea what an air gap computer was. Turns out air gap computers are computers that have never been connected to the internet, and there's literally a gap of air between it and everything. I'm pretty sure this is right. It's that buffer that creates safety. Okay, let's leave to the side for the fact that I'm only really watching it because Dev Patel is so cute. Anyway, go see The Green Knight, even though it's long and anticlimactic, because he is a walking painting. He is so beautiful in that movie. My God. Anyway, but don't expect too much from the film. But if you're just interested in looking at something beautiful for 2.5 hours, oh, wow. Okay, I'm getting distracted. I'm sorry. I'm like telling you not to focus on romance, and then I'm going on this tirade about how cute this guy is. Okay, never mind. Don't force anything. Because if we look at it in terms of making space, right? Forcing something means rushing towards it or trying to push it towards something. And what I'm saying is we need to do the very opposite. However, the reason I mentioned Mars and Libra is because it's going to make you want to force things. So what you have to do is very counterintuitive. You want to force things right now. You definitely do. You definitely do. But you shouldn't. Because as soon as the retrograde starts, it turns into a miserable situation. Let me put it to you this way. Anything that you have to force right now, in a couple of weeks becomes a nightmare for you. So just back off. Back off, back off, back off. Now it's time to create harmony in your life. It's not time to acquire new grudges. It's about harmony. It's about making plans in terms of money. It's about being bold with your money plans, actually. Okay? Also, it is the time where you are allowed to shine, where your fire is allowed to shine very bright as the more noble person. It's actually really interesting that I brought up the Green Knight because I didn't make this connection until just right now. But that whole story is about nobility of character and how when your fate finds you, you have to be strong enough to live up to it. You have to be made of something great to live up to your fate. Right? You have to be the bigger person, the better person, right? Now, if you get too involved in your ego, you're not going to be able to do that. If you get involved in your ego and you start forcing stuff, whoa, this gets messy really fast, okay? But instead, if you focus on the content of your character, oh, wow, you shine bright. You shine so bright that everyone around you is like, whoa, you're such a better person than this situation, than this other person, than this person who's attacking you, than this person who's talking shit about you. Now let's move to the next aspect of this. You will want to end things. As you become that better person, that bigger person, as you decide that you are going to take the high road in every situation from now until the middle of October, one of the logical conclusions that you're going to come to is that some things need to end. You're going to see the opportunity to end them, and you're going to want to take it. Don't. Not yet. Don't do it. Wait. Wait. And I'll tell you why. Sometimes you have to keep people around because you need information about other people. There is someone around you, most probably in your work situation, because Sagittarians, usually their closest friends are people that they can trust with their life. That's what I'm saying, it's probably a work situation, but there is someone in your midst that during the retrograde period, you're going to find out is not on your side. They pretend to love you. They pretend to be really close to you. They pretend to know you. They pretend to be on your side at work or be on your team or have your back, and they are absolutely not. And this is a pivotal thing for you. You have to smoke them out. And the way that you do that is that you don't end things. You let people tell on themselves. You give people enough rope by being the high person right now, by being the better person, right now. You give them enough rope to hang themselves. You don't have to end things. You just have to be patient and watch them end themselves. You don't need to get involved in this. This is what they're doing anyway. This is them. Let them do it. You don't have to be a part of that. It's someone who wants to sabotage you, especially when it comes to work. They're upset by the stability that you create in a work environment when it comes to work in your life. Excuse me, there's so many things that can be going on in a Sag's life, but your work ethic is so bomb. And a lot of times people don't understand how you can do it. They don't understand how you can be as social as you are, and you can travel as much as you do, you can party as much as you do when you want to, and still maintain, mashallah, this very consistent, even reputation with your work. You take your work very seriously, and the reason you take your work seriously is because you take yourself and your integrity very seriously. There is someone around you who wants to destroy that. They want to make you look like the complete opposite. That's why I'm saying be the bigger person in every situation, because this person is laying traps for you. And anytime you fall into one of those traps, they got you, and they're going to make you look really bad, and they're going to tarnish something that should never be tarnished with you, and that's your work ethic and your work reputation. Okay, I know just hearing this is making you mad. I get it. It's making me mad. I get it. It's time to call the herd. And then when you start to feel after the 21st like money is slowing down and what the hell is going on with money and why is it becoming such a sticky issue, relax. Take a breather, take a rest. Don't be reactive, strategize. Scorpio season comes along, everything smooths itself out, inshallah, money goes back to normal. During the retrograde, we don't want to expect too much in terms of finances. We don't want to expect too much in terms of relationships, even friendships. We want to focus solely on our integrity, being the bigger person, staying out of traps, staying out of the grasp of the sabotage, building ourselves back up and keeping ourselves calm even when it feels like financially things aren't going our way. Because within a month or so, inshallah, it smooths out. So you need to give yourself a little rest, give yourself a little space, and don't panic. As long as you don't panic, we're good. Everything is good. If you start forcing things now, by the time you get to the retrograde in a few days, there's tower moments happening all over the place. Also, the person who's trying to sabotage you wants you to force things. That's part of their plan. They are counting on your fire being your demise. They don't get it. They don't get that Sagittarius don't point their arrows at themselves. That's what they want to try to get you to do. So you got to be real clever right now. Keep your eyes open. And you focus on the harmony within you. You focus on creating stillness and harmony within you so you can peep these people coming before they get there. Okay? Because if you take the high road and you get quiet, okay, and you don't force anything and you're just doing your own thing, you will clearly be able to see the setup coming. And that's what we want to do. We want to see it coming, get out of its way, have it fall back on the people that were trying to do it to you, just of its own momentum. You go into a calm, collected, meditative state throughout Mercury retrograde. On the 18th of October, we start coming out of the shadow of we come out of Mercury retrograde, but we're still in the shadow. By the time we get to Scorpio season, money smooths itself out and starts coming back in. Okay? Now, when it comes to being the bigger person, let's talk about this a little bit. Come on, you knew I was going to do this. You often are the bigger person. So if it's been an irritant every time I said it, it's because you're like, I already do that. I'm already the bigger person. I get that. But you also have to understand that people are able to manipulate you through your reactivity. They're able to manipulate you because they know you're immutable fire. They've seen you react before. They know where the chinks in your armor are. Being the bigger person is very different than being full of yourself or conceited or haughty or thinking very highly of yourself. It's actually the complete opposite. Okay, being the bigger person means that you know, you don't think very highly of yourself. You know how solid your integrity is, and it can't be shaken. Now, there are people that are going to try to accuse you of being egotistical because you're being the bigger person. That's a setup. That's a ploy. That's to get you to be reactive so they can get to those holes in your armor, so they can get you where you're not protected. Okay? We just don't want to do it. Now, some of you are also coming out of or dealing still with miserable relationships. Someone who made you miserable, someone in your family, someone you used to run a business with, someone you were dating, someone you have a kid with, someone that has now become a source of great misery. It's really hard for them to see you shining, just so you know. It's really hard for them to see you out here living your life, baby. Like, it's very hard for them. And you know what? I think it's really important at this time that you get used to doing a little bit of a cleansing ritual. If you pray every day, every morning, every night. Do something where you're protecting yourself in the morning, cleansing yourself in the evening. You can do this in the bath. You can do it with candles. You can do it with whatever religious modality you believe in. It doesn't matter. But do something to protect yourself from the eyes of those who could have had you, did have you, mistreated you, didn't do enough for you, weren't enough, and you left them behind, or they made you, forced you to leave them behind, and now they just can't believe that you're shining the way that you are, mashallah. That's not your problem. But we still want to protect ourselves from it energetically. Okay? Good. I love you. I'll see you on the extended right now. All the links are below. Readings, extended readings. The first part of this reading was on Patreon a few weeks ago. I would highly recommend you join Patreon. There's a bunch of live walks and meditations and all kinds of stuff on there. All the links are below. Love you, love you.